Mark, I guess AFL's confirmed that you'll have the red and gold jumper, mate. You were expecting it, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, nothing's changed with the Guernsey. Has been confirmed that we'll be in the Gold Coast SUNS colours, which are as expected.
Can you just explain, there's been so much media coverage, what was Port Adelaide's problem with it? Like, why were they so upset about it? Obviously the more Chinese colours.
Stephen Wilson's telling me that you should ask that question to Port Adelaide, but certainly there was some discussion early on about what jumper we would wear, but we were always of the belief that we would wear our home Guernsey, or certainly even our away Guernsey is the same colouring. So we're pleased that's been confirmed.
There's almost been like a little veiled threat that they won't invite you guys back in future years. Is that ever of a concern to you?
I've spoken to Keith Thomas and said he needs to pass on to all the people at his club that we're committed to make this a great event. The first time that a game will be played away from Australia and New Zealand. And, there are so many logistic challenges to make sure that that event will go smoothly. And the AFL and Port Adelaide and Gold Coast SUNS have done a mighty job so far. Of course, the last 2 weeks, there's a lot more work to be done there, and then ultimately to give everybody who attends, either from China or who travels over, that they have just a fantastic experience. And I'm sure we'll evaluate after this year what occurs from there.
Obviously you guys want to be involved in it for the long term?
Well, we saw that there was a great opportunity to take our club to a different market and have a look at different things, and it's exciting for our players to experience that, and our coaches, and we're committed to deliver the best event that we can and then work out with Port Adelaide and the AFL what the plans are beyond this year.
Mark, when you first started here, there were a few reports going around about when you spoke to Rocket for the first time, you were saying, what can I do to help? And what type of things have you been working with Rocket since you've been here?
Oh, it wasn't the first conversation I had with him. I think that came after round 2, and we'd met each other quite a few times before then. But I'm just trying to work out a number of things around the business and the football area, and basically that's to try and get to know people and to look at our programs and to help where we can. I'm pleased to say the reaction to our loss in round 2 resulted in a pretty fierce response in round 3, a very emphatic response in round 3. But we find ourselves in the same position again, that we would like more wins on the board, and the approach just has to be, we have to be as competitive as we can and get as many wins as we can.
I guess it's only early days, but Rocket's contract ends at the end of the year. Have you had any conversations with him about his future at the club or anything like that?
No, the important thing that I need to see, and I think that our supporters need to see, is that we are working as hard as we can to be as competitive as we can. And when you look after those things, the wins follow, and it sets up a good back half of the year. I think that'll be important for any of those discussions.
And have you set any benchmarks with him or with the players? Rocket was saying at the start of the year that top 8 was a realistic finish. Is that something you're probably aiming for?
Of course it is. What you see with the competition at the moment, any side could beat any other side on any day. You look at Sydney, who are sitting in 18th position, but they could come out next week and play Adelaide and knock them off. And everybody in the middle is sort of vying for that ability to put themselves into a position in the last month to really have a go at the finals, and we're no different to anyone else.
Because the competition's like that though, it's so important to get points on the board as quickly as you can, isn't it?
That's the plan. If that doesn't work though, you still then just turn your head towards the next game, and the game against Geelong gives us a chance to put up a good standing and get some credibility. We had some good parts of the game on the weekend, and this is another really good opportunity to play a good opponent and try and get that credibility.
Just one more contracts one. Obviously there's been plenty of chatter about Gary and his future at the club. Would you like to see him stay here for 2018?
I thought that Gary's response to the pressure that he was put under publicly after round 2 has been nothing short than outstanding, and it's reminded us exactly the sort of player that he has been across his career. And if he keeps playing like that, he'll have more than 1 year left ahead of him, I'm sure.
Do you expect a particularly big game from him against the Cats?
I hope so.
Mark,
short answer, sorry.
As short as it can get.
After spending a couple months at the club, what have you discovered from a business and football sense, and what's the greatest challenge you're facing there?
It's quite interesting to try and understand all of the programs and all of the people. We would like to build our crowd base, so anybody who wants to see the Suns go well on the Gold Coast should start attending games and showing their support. If you can, buy a membership. If you just want to try it, come and see a game. And this week against Geelong, we'll give you an ideal chance to see some real stars of the game up close. Selwood and Dangerfield, absolute stars. Gary Ablett, Tom Lynch, probably two of the best that you'll see in Queensland for a long time to come. So the challenge for us is to build on all of that, and that probably starts on the field as well.
We've even seen GWS, who have had success over the past couple of years, still struggle with some crowd numbers. How do you get that over the line with the expansion?
It's difficult. If I look at GWS crowds compared to other crowds in that market, then they hold their own. We tend to compare them against Melbourne and Adelaide and Perth football crowds, and that's probably not the best benchmark. I think the best benchmark for GWS is to look at their crowds historically and grow that year on year.
Mark, a few weeks ago at a press conference, Eid, was when the rising tensions between US and Australia were really peaking, and Eid expressed a few reservations about players actually playing in China on flight time and recovery. Were you surprised by his comments? By not really
No, there are loads of logistic issues to consider, and there would, I've no doubt, things would be easier to just play at Metricon Stadium or in Melbourne or around the country. But also, if you talk to players and coaches about their history and their journey, they'll talk about the special event games. Now, they'll talk about playing on Anzac Day. They'll talk about playing a game in London, or they'll talk about finals. And this gives us something to put on our rap sheet to say we were part of that first ever game outside of Australia and New Zealand. I look forward to seeing our football players and our coaches develop the resilience that needs to go with a big project like that.
So you obviously need every win you can get at the moment. There's no reservations about foregoing a home match to have to travel and be part of an event like this?
Well, certainly no one's home ground. No one's got a home ground advantage there, so there's an even footing from that point of view. But ask me that question in a couple of weeks. But what I would like to see, one is that it's just a brilliant event, and I'd love to see our players really put their best foot forward.
Mark, are we any closer to getting a major sponsor on board?
Yes.
Yeah.
In that we're not further away.
Are you guys prepared to go the season maybe without getting one if you need to? Just to devalue it?
No, I won't. It's not. When you're in discussions with people, it's very difficult to then allude to anything at a stand-up press conference around that. So I'll keep my powder dry on all that.